Robert mashed the gas pedal and held it down. The Fairlane sat back on its soft springs and made a loud whooshing sound. In a few seconds, he was up to 55. Then he took it up to 70. "Slow down, you idiot. Do you want to get busted?" said Petra. "Look, you are getting busted." A cop going the other direction had seen Robert shoot past. The black and white whipped a screeching U-turn and kicked down into low. The Christmas tree came on as the sickening low-frequency drone of a 454 cubic inch Chrysler surged up from behind. Robert looked dazed by the flashing red and blue lights reflecting in the rear-view mirror. He took his foot off the accelerator and started to brake, then suddenly punched it again. "No, you jerk," said Petra. She frantically rifled around in her purse, then threw a handful of joints out the window. As Robert made a screaming hard right turn down a side street, a hubcap popped off and veered away from the car. The Fairlane raced down to the end of a small residential block. Julie was digging her fingernails into Robert's arm. My feet were locked against the dashboard. Petra started screaming, "You fucking idiot asshole!" Mr. Jeeter looked scared for once. "I can't let this happen," said Robert. Just as a cop came around the corner, Robert made another hard right. The rear end broke loose in mossy gutter water. He powered into the fishtail and the car started swinging wildly from side to side. Robert frantically jerked the steering wheel back and forth, fighting for control. As he worked it, his elbow nearly hit Julie in the face. The tires were smoking, but he stayed on the gas. The rear end was almost sideways when the right wheel slammed into the curb with a bone-jarring crash. The impact threw me against the door and jerked my neck as the Fairlane jumped the curb. It came to a stop with its hood right underneath a kitchen window. Robert was breathing fast. He threw it into reverse, backing off the lawn. Then he tried to drive down the street. Clattering, grinding metal sounds came from beneath the car. As he floored it again, the tires spun hopelessly. A cloud of bluish rubber smoke enveloped us. The police cruiser pulled up and screeched to a halt. Intense white spotlights poured through the interior. "Everybody, slowly get out of the car with your hands on your head," said a voice over the bullhorn. "It looks like an old coon and a bunch of high school kids," said the cop to his partner, with the bullhorn still on. "No backup, but I'll need a tow truck," said the second cop into the radio. I stepped out with my hands on my head and looked at the front wheel on my side. It was sticking sideways out of the wheel well, with thick metal rods hanging loose. "You tore the wheel off," I said to Robert. "Shut up," said the big burly cop. "No talking unless I ask a question." "Officer, I gotta tell you something. We don't even know these guys. We were just hitchhiking," said Julie. "Fucking bitches," said Robert. "Look, I told you all to shut up, and I mean it right now," said the cop as he removed an empty bottle of Colt 45 from the back seat. "Open the trunk," he said to Robert. Robert walked around to the back and popped open the trunk. The cop took out a cardboard box with the last full bottle of 45 in it. He reached in again and threw a plaid blanket onto the ground, then a small wicker picnic basket. Something broke inside. "Hey, be careful with that stuff," yelled Robert. "Shut the fuck up," said the cop. "Fuck you," said Robert under his breath. "What did you say to me, you little piece of shit?" said the cop, walking toward him. "Nothing," said Robert. People had started coming out of their houses on both sides of the street. They stood on their lawns and stared as red and blue lights raced across their faces. Robert breathed unevenly as he watched the burly cop throw his mother's coat onto the ground. Robert's eyes were riveted to the inside of the trunk as the other cop took out a manila folder and tossed it onto the sidewalk. It opened up, and the typed documents inside started blowing away. Leaping forward, Robert grabbed the handles of his mother's bowling ball and yanked it from the trunk. Twisting his body back and forth, he swung the ball wildly, trying to hit the smaller cop in the stomach. "Fucking assholes, leave my mother's shit alone," he screamed. The big cop grabbed him and jerked the bowling ball out of his hands, fiercely twisting Robert's arm behind his back. "Oh shit," Robert screamed. Julie and Petra took off like a shot, running across the street. They were fast. "Go after him, Frank," yelled the cop to his partner. Frank turned and ran. The big cop snapped thick chrome handcuffs around Robert's wrists. Mr. Jeeter and I looked at each other. "Let's get on out of here," he whispered. "Follow me."